Okay, so let's get started. So while I wait for the I actually want us to look at excretory system, but my system is still booting up. So let's be looking at classification. We've looked at classification before, but let's dive deeper into it and understand it very well. So there are uh, the major kingdoms that we have. We have the plant and animal kingdoms, and they have their major differences in that the animals, their cell, they have no cell wall, they have no cellulose cell wall, and they don't also have chloroplast. Chloroplast is the green pigment that enables photosynthesis. It is not available in animals, and that's why animals they cannot make their own food. So if you're looking at my the diagram I have, this is where I'm explaining. So there is no cellulose cell wall, and there is no chloroplast in the cell of, we are talking about the cell of animals, but that of plants, they have cellulose cell wall and they have chloroplast, and that's why plants are able to be autotrophs. They can manufacture their own food. Animals are heterotrophs. They cannot manufacture their own food because they don't have chloroplast. They don't have the green pigment that can enable photosynthesis. That's why animals feed on plants and other animals. So plants are multicellular, as we all know. Animals are also multicellular. Multicellular simply means having more than one cell. So very good examples of plants include mosses, ferns, flowering plants, whereas examples of animals include worms, insects, fishes, and mammals. So these are the two majors for plants and animals. But we have other divisions. We have the fungi uh, that have the cell walls of chitins, and most of them are multicellular. There are actually some unicellular fungi. Fungi are also heterotrophs. They don't manufacture their food by themselves. That means they don't have chloroplast. So they are heterotrophs, they feed on other organisms. Now we also have the Protista. Very good examples of the Protista are the amoeba, the paramecium, the slime mold, and the giant carp. So some of them have chloroplast and can get their food by themselves. So they can be autotrophs or heterotrophs. So very important. You need to know these various divisions of organisms. So you can see the divisions and you can see how the divisions relate to their various their modes of nutrition, the number of cells they have, and their cell structures. But very importantly, when you're classifying plants and animals, there's what we call the normal way of classifying, where you have the kingdom first. So you have to classify into kingdoms, then phylum, then classes, then order, then family, then genus, and then species. We call it the binomial nomenclature. So in binomial nomenclature, it simply means giving plants and animals or giving living things two names, two major names. And the first name is from their genus name, or you call it the generic name, followed by the second name from the species name. So like human beings are called Homo sapiens. Homo is from our genus name, and sapiens is from our species names. So that is what we call binomial nomenclature. So you're going to be asked what kind of taxonomy is used in classifying living things, in classifying plants and animals. What kind of taxonomy? So the kind of taxonomy that they use is what we call binomial nomenclature. So you use two names from their genus name and their species name, and that is why human beings are known as Homo sapiens. So you can see under kingdom, human beings are classified as animals, and animals are organisms that are able to move on their own. Then under phylum, they are classified as chordats or chordata or chordats. So chordats are animals with backbone. You can see when you know you have your spinal cord and you have your backbone that is protecting the spinal cord. So animals that have that backbone, they are called chordates or chordatas, and that is the phylum in which human beings are classified. Then the next level of classification is what we call the class. Then under class, human beings are classified as mammals, and mammals are actually chordates with fur or hair and milk glands. So once you're recorded, that means once you're an animal with backbone and you also have fur. Fur simply means the hairs that you have on your skin, and you can milk your kids. Like when a human being, when they give birth, they can always give breast milk to their children. So animals that can do such are known as mammals. And you know, it's not only human beings that are mammals. We also have chimpanzees and gorillas. They can also do that. They have furs and they can feed their kids with breast milk. Then after the class classification, we now go into the order. So under order, animals are known as primates, and primates are simply mammals with collarbones and grasping finger. So if you look at the fingers of human beings, you can actually use it to grab something, to hold something, and they have collarbone. So those mammals that have collarbone and have grasping fingers are known as primates. Then under family, we call animals hominids. Hominids. So hominids are simply primates with relatively flat faces and three-dimensional vision. So animals like human beings, they have three-dimensional vision and they have flat faces. They are known as hominids. Then we move into the next level of classification, which is known as the genus. Then under genus, human beings are classified as Homo, and homos are simply hominids with upright posture and large brains. So that means we can stand upright, and our brains are very large. So we are known as Homo. Then under species, we are known as sapiens, and sapiens are simply members of the genus Homo with high forehead and thin skull bones. So we have high forehead and we have thin skull bones, and that is why we are called sapiens. So you can see this under the kingdom of animal. You have plenty space, plenty living things there. You can even have snake is still under animal kingdom. You can have goats, sheep, but you see that as the level of classification goes up in this way, the number of organisms in that very classification level becomes very small. Like species, it's only human beings that are called Homo sapiens. But when you look at the animal kingdom, there are plenty living things under the animal kingdom. When you talk about chordates, animals with backbone, there are plenty animals that have backbone. When you talk about mammals, that means animals chordates with fur, hair, and milk glands. You have plenty other animals like chimpanzee, monkeys. They are all under this. So you see that as the classification level goes up from kingdom to species, or as it goes down, depending on how you placed it, the number of animals or the number of organisms in that very level of classification reduces. So the number in species is actually just one organism, human beings, under this. But when you get to genus, it's expanding, family, it gets bigger, order, it gets bigger, class, it gets bigger, and that's actually how it works. So you need to take note of this. So JAMB is going to ask you which of the following is not a level in the classification of living things. So they are going to have kingdom, phylum, class, and they could put something like organ to surprise you. So you should be able to know that the levels are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Okay, so take note of that. That is very, very important in classification. Okay, let's look at one more thing under classification. So we have the five major kingdoms. We have the animals, one, the plants, two, the fungi, three, the protista, four, and the uh, viruses. So take note, the animals are heterophobic. That means they cannot produce their own food by themselves. Autotrophic simply means that they can get their own food by themselves. And once you say that an organism is autotrophic, that means that it's likely that that organism has green pigment that enables it to do what we call photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is very important. It enables organisms to be able to produce their own food by themselves. And organisms that can produce their own food by themselves, they are known as autotrophs. Whereas the ones that depend on other organisms to feed, they are known as heterotrophs. So animals are always heterotrophs, whereas plants, most of them, the green ones, are autotrophs. So you also have the fungi, the they actually some of them feed on products of digestion, products of digestion. So we also have the organisms resembling ancestors of plant, that's the protoclastas. Okay, so take note of these other classification as well. Um, okay, so I'm gonna sign up now, sign off and sign in back so that we can do a screenshot.